Hey guys,
Hey guys.
welcome back to True Crime Storytime.
Story time.
A new title that we're trying out. Let us know if you like it or not.
Yeah.
This week we're gonna go back to some curious cases.
Mm-hmm.
You can find them over on Max, right?
I watched it on Hulu, but
Okay, well I watched it on Max. You can watch it either place. You do what feels right for you.
Yeah,
Don't let us tell you what to do.
No.
This one is the Doomsday Cat Cult, and in true curious case fashion, this one takes a lot of weird ass turns and then abruptly ends.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
just get ready.
Also, just I don't know if you can, because I know there's stuff you can and can't say on YouTube. Can you say beer flavored nipples on YouTube? Because this woman, if that's a thing, she's got them.
Oh, well, and they're apparently bowling balls and sweaters too. So
Yes.
I don't know what she's doing, but she's doing it well.
She's doing it well. There's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
All right.
We do want to give a hey girl thanks to Beth for writing this one up.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
Hey.
And, here we go. So we are going to Bellingham, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking to Mary Walker. And she had married her husband, Mark, in 2006. They both already, they had previous marriages, had kids from the previous marriage. So they were going to do, like a Brady Bunch sort of thing.
I know. It was really cute.
It's really cute.
Well, the way she was talking about him, and she was like, I am Mark's wife. And I was like, is Mark dead? Immediately I was like, is Mark in the room with us?
I know.
Where is Mark?
Yeah, and then she's like showing pictures of when they got.
I know, and I was like, oh
he's
no,
not here.
Mark, where are you?
Yeah, and she said that they thought they were going to have this great blended family, but she realized fairly early on that would not be possible because of Mark's ex-wife, Cheryl, with an S.
Cheryl.
Yeah.
And the fact that she was just like, I knew right away that she was going to cause a problem in our relationship. I really wanted to be like, you in danger, girl. You better get on out of there.
Yeah, because Mark tells Mary
Mm-hmm.
that Cheryl, his ex-wife,
Yeah.
is the bride of Christ.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah. Which, to be fair, when Mark married her, she was not yet the bride of Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one,
So-
she sprung on him at the right moment.
Yeah. She kept that under wraps. She hid the crazy long as she could, and then just Jack in the Box, bam, got you, bitch.
She really
And
did.
she got him.
Okay, so Cheryl Walker Ruthven, she's now Ruthven,
Yeah.
is a Pentecostal-style preacher based out of Bellingham, Washington. They say her charismatic fire and brimstone-style preaching has gained her about 200 followers, and she's gained a reputation of pushing boundaries of typical faith. So we learn that Mary first met Mark's children at a trip to Whistler, and when they got back is when she meets Cheryl for the first time. And she said Cheryl was already waiting at the house.
In the house, right?
Yes,
She
just was
up in the house.
just walks in the house. And Mary was like, she was really threatening. Like, she just felt very threatening.
Ominous.
Mark and Cheryl end up getting a divorce in 2004, and they had 50-50 custody of the children, but eventually they spend more and more time with Cheryl. Cheryl is pretty PO'd about this, and by 2008, him even being around or near the children is simply not going to work for her anymore.
Yeah, no, unacceptable.
Apparently, Mark, being the type of person who never bowed down to Cheryl,
Yes.
set him in her sights.
Quite literally in her sight.
All the sights.
The metaphorical and the literal
Mhm.
sights. He was in them.
Yeah, because apparently Cheryl wanted to be the pastor and the prophet,
Uh-huh.
and Mark was supposed to be subservient to her and just uplift her and allow her to follow God's calling in her ministry.
Yeah. He wouldn't let her be great, you know?
Yeah.
He was really holding her back.
And when he was like, uh-oh, this feels...
Crazy?
Yeah,
Feels crazy.
I think we're entering cult territory. She was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And she always tried to paint herself as a victim of Mark. So she
Mhm.
tells her whole congregation that he was manifesting demons. He was a devil named Baphomet.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that?
Baphomet. Yeah, something.
And that Mary, his new wife, was was a reincarnated temple whore named Asherah.
I love that. She was like, she's a temple whore.
Yeah, your whore mother. Like, so Cheryl despised Mark. You know, she told everybody he was the devil, and she
Yeah.
would tell everybody in her inner circle that Mark needed to die for her to move forward. So she had her people praying for his death. So then in 2008, they had a new member enter the community. He is named Rick Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately he stuck out, apparently.
Yeah.
So he was visiting as a guest, and Cheryl was like,
I
"You're
want
looking
that
pretty
one.
good."
Hey.
She love bombed him immediately.
Mhm.
She seduced him immediately. But
Not
Mary is
very
a temple whore? Okay.
Not very bride-like.
No, she did not wait till marriage. They got married. They moved in together, and then they
Obviously.
got married. And he said
Obviously.
that everybody would just walk around the church being like, "How's Mark gonna die? Hope he dies today. What's that guy
Yeah.
doing? Hope everybody has a great day except for Mark. Mark, hope he dies." So Cheryl told him that he was like the new like spiritual,
The new spiritual father
Yes,
or something
father,
like that.
yes.
Yeah.
It was very mother god.
He's spirit daddy.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was like, "That's pretty cool. I like that."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I legit thought Mark was just gonna fall over dead." Like,
Well, he thought when they consummated the marriage
Oh,
was when
that's
he was
right.
going to die.
Cheryl began to get pretty pissed about this.
Big mad. Big
Why
time.
is he not just dying? She said.
Yeah.
Cheryl began to, according to Rick, pound into his head that Mark had to go. He's evil, all this
Mhm.
stuff. So she goes out and she buys an AR-15. I love that unstable people can buy them at any time. He said they shot about 1,000 rounds, and she basically turned him into a sniper. Like, they would go and practice all the time. And then he said she would be like, "Well, how far is that thing? Do you think you could hit that thing?" So she like was systematically
Like,
training
backing him up?
him,
Yeah.
to go further and
Which,
further.
insane.
Yeah, like, and so they said one day Rick is at the top of the driveway and has Mark in his sights.
Literally the sights of
The
his AR-15.
Yeah. And Rick said he had a God moment, and God intervened, and he decided not to pull the trigger, and
Yeah.
he drove home. All right, so we learn how Mark and Cheryl met. Okay, so he met her in
Mhm.
Spokane, Washington. She worked at Nordstrom's, and his mom was like, "There's this good-looking gal that works at Nordstrom's. You should go check it out." And he's like, "Okay." And this was 1984, so. And he said they only dated for 6 months, and then they got married.
Mhm. So
And
she
he-
was able to hide the crazy for that long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody can hide it for that long. So he says 10 months into their marriage, they had their first child, Colin, and then 3 years later, they have Landon, and then 6 years later, their daughter, Olivia.
That's a gap.
It is, yes. But he felt like, it's my responsibility to stay married.
Yeah.
We got to make this work. Like, how are we make it work? So Mark says he was raised in a very conservative Christian household. He
Mhm.
always wanted to go to church. Cheryl did not care about going to church. I was like,
Interesting turn of events we've taken. No?
she didn't even care. She doesn't even go here.
She doesn't even go here.
And then she was like, now I care about church. And not only do I care about church, I found the only church we're allowed to go to. And
Yeah.
it was called Gates of Praise. At Gates of Praise, you would see things like people speaking in tongues, people doing exorcisms, things that Mark was like, I didn't been going to church a long time and I ain't never seen this.
Yeah.
So she starts going to Gates of Praise,
Mhm.
which was started by Debbie Lynch. And Cheryl was very attracted to her style of preaching.
Yeah.
They became very close.
Uh-huh. I have to wonder if Cheryl was also attracted. Just straight up attracted.
Yeah. Debbie ends up making Cheryl an associate pastor, and she loved that position of leadership, except that everyone around her was like, she had never read the Bible and she didn't know what the she was talking
Yeah,
about.
no, she never went to seminary. Like, she knew nothing about the Bible. Literally, this is her first church experience. And all of a sudden, she's like, would you like to be an associate pastor?
So in 2001, she splits from Debbie Lynch and she starts her own church called Freedom Fire Ministries. We meet Mary L. I believe it was Lancaster. She is, she said when she got into the ministry, at that point, it was mainstream Christianity. I Not totally sure that I agree with that,
Okay.
but, because it was always,
weird.
yeah. And Mark was like, I didn't like what she was doing, but I
Yeah.
knew that I had to stay close to her and not let her know that because she would try to take kids away.
Yeah.
Um,
He was very much like sticking it out for the kids
Mhm.
because he was, unlike Ruby Frankie's husband, trying to be the last line of defense.
yes.
Like he was holding strong as long
Yes.
as he could.
Any way he could. And he was questioning her,
He was.
and she had enough of that. So she
Yeah.
tried to have him arrested. She said that he had pushed her.
Oh my God.
And then
yeah.
he got arrested and spent the night in jail. And then when they couldn't substantiate that, he got out and like any charges or whatever were dismissed. So when the divorce was finalized, they did 50-50 custody.
Mhm.
And that obviously is not going to go well. We talk more to Mary, and she is in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Hey, girl.
So she was raised in a Christian home, and at a very young age, she knew she had to hide her real self. So she is gay. And she was not allowed to be gay, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. And then she started attending Cheryl's church. She said it was very lively. The people there were joyful and joyous.
Mhm.
Mary goes to Cheryl's church, and then one time she starts playing the piano or whatever, and Cheryl just begins to weep.
Just like Jesus.
Just like Jesus.
That.
Yeah, and she was like, you have a gift inside you, and when you speak, people will be healed, and they'll listen. And Mary's like, this is everything I've ever wanted. Like, I've
Yeah.
wanted to do something good. And
Yeah.
so, what an unfortunate situation for Mary.
Yeah.
And so the connection between her and Cheryl became very strong. Now, Mary was enamored by Cheryl,
I know.
and Cheryl could tell.
Mhm.
And so she started pulling Mary in, and Mary started to fall in love, which Cheryl totally picked up on.
Yeah.
And so she invites her to the church one night, just the two of them, and she's like, it's time for you and I to enter into covenant.
Yep.
Temple whore much?
Yeah. Projecting is what
Uh-huh.
we're doing.
So she begins a sexual relationship with Mary
Yeah.
for God,
For the Lord.
of course.
Not gay because it's for God.
It's not gay. And she even told Mary that what we're doing, this is not gay.
Yeah.
It's
Doesn't count.
It's just for God, okay? Because
It's
like
for the covenant.
so then all of a sudden one day Cheryl was like, she said they'd like just hooked up or whatever. They're in
Yeah.
her bedroom, and she's like, all right, well, that's over now. Like, we'll
Yeah.
still be friends or whatever, but that part of our relationship is over.
It's
We're
not,
done.
we've built the covenant. It is built.
It's done. Mary didn't leave the ministry because she thought if she did, she would die.
Yeah.
Because Cheryl told everybody that if you leave me, you will die or something horrible will happen
Yeah.
to you because I'm the prophet. And if you betray me, like, she was like, I literally thought God would like just strike me dead. We learn that Cheryl had a knack for bringing in a new religion or practice and then tying it into whatever they were doing. So at this point, Cheryl said, we must adopt the cats. She was like, listen, we've got to adopt all the cats.
All of them.
Every one of them. And she said, cats are of God.
Dogs? No.
No. And if we save the cats today, you will be saved
Later.
on the apocalypse day. So they changed the whole name of the ministry to
Yeah.
Eva's Eden, which is a cage-free cat shelter. It's a nonprofit organization. And so they would take like all
And
the
who is
followers.
Eva?
I don't know.
Is it supposed to be like Eve? Like from the Bible?
Then wouldn't you just call it Eve's Eden?
I would think so, but maybe they didn't want people to know they were religious
No, I don't
because
know.
they don't want to limit their adoption of the God cats to just the Christians.
Sure.
Maybe. I don't know.
You need
There's so many questions.
They're powerful and they need to be everywhere. So they would go around to different shelters, and if there were any cats that were getting ready to be euthanized, they would adopt them,
Yeah.
which is great
A
work.
bold strategy.
The problem, though, is you couldn't be like, oh, I saved a cat.
Yeah.
You couldn't even be like, I saved 2 cats.
Yep. Nope.
You had to save 20 to 30 cats and have as many cats as possible in your home at all times.
Yeah. And you had to feed them very specific food. You had to use a very specific cat litter. You had to buy very specific toys. The cats came first above your children, above your husband, above literally everything except Cheryl. Honestly. I mean,
Like if you made dinner for your family and you dared to eat that dinner before you fed that cat.
yeah, they had to be fed at like specific time. Like it was very strange. And then they were saying too, like everything that they had to buy for the cats, they had to buy from
Oh
Cheryl.
my gosh. So the cats were supposed to be the vessels that would save them all. And all the cats would eventually be turned into humans. One of the followers had told her husband, she was like, her name's Connie, and she's like, I told him, like, I can never put Cheryl or the cats above you.
Yeah.
And he, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Connie. And then she was like, that's when we knew we had to get out.
That was when.
Because they both were like, you're right. We can't put the cats above each other. Like, oh my
It's not
gosh.
funny.
It's
These people
not.
are being manipulated and brainwashed. It's not funny at all. But just like the epiphany moment, you're just
Yeah.
like, that was the thing?
Yeah.
That was the thing that clued you in?
So Mark and Mary are trying to, just live as a family and whatever. And Cheryl is getting worse and worse. So Mary says she realized she was in a cult around 2007 to 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time that Cheryl shut the door and they became a secret religion, and the cat shelter was a front for their church. So she was like, I started to be like, this is starting to feel like some bullshit. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure
girl,
about all this.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. So she said she knew she needed to get out, but she was really afraid to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You might have to explain the Da Vinci Code to me.
From what I remember, like there's supposed to be like hidden messages and like there's like a secret organization and like you go to these different places and like there's signs and symbols and it was some real Illuminati shit.
Yeah. Cheryl decided that this told her that she herself was actually Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. Which, what a wild conclusion to jump to, but this girl is a high jumper, so go ahead.
Yeah, and Beth Kara says it's very interesting that that's who she chose because the revelation in the Da Vinci Code is that Mary was no prostitute. She is Jesus's wife.
Yeah.
So now Cheryl is saying that she is Jesus's wife and her followers believed it. I guess, do people believe that?
People believe that cats are vessels for humans,
that's
so
true.
I guess.
And she would prick her finger. She would put her blood in the communion because she was female Jesus. This is insane. All right, so then
Yeah.
Then people start essentially giving all of their money over to Cheryl. If they were going to get a tax return, that goes to Cheryl now. Like everything goes to her. So these people are just giving her all the money. And it's pretty bad. Then Mark calls his daughter Olivia on her 18th birthday to wish her a happy birthday. And remember, they're supposed to have 50-50 custody at this time. So the other two are already adults. He doesn't have contact with them anymore, but Olivia he's supposed to have contact with. So he tries to call her. He had lunch with her the week before. He had a present. He wanted to see her on her birthday, but he can't get a hold of her. Her phone was dead. So he's like, okay, I'll call Cheryl's phone. Her phone is dead. He tries to call the boys' phones. Their phones are dead. He goes to the house. He's like, what the fuck? The house is empty.
So what we find out is that in their agreement, they would have 50-50 custody until she graduated high school and turned 18, right? So she was going to turn 18 before her graduation.
Well, she wasn't supposed to. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes.
No, but like per the order. So she would have turned 18 and then graduated after. So the court order said she has to turn 18 and graduate, right? So he calls because technically they still have 50-50 custody, even though she's 18, can't get a hold of anybody. He calls the school because she should be at school. And the school's like, she graduated early. She graduated last month. Didn't you know? And he was like, nope.
Nobody told him.
They accelerated her school so that she could graduate early before she turned 18. And I think they said it was at midnight, I think, that all of the phones were cut.
Yeah.
Like all of the lines
The
that they had,
moment she turned 18, essentially.
cut everything off.
Yeah. And they fled in the night.
Yeah. And where did they flee to?
Tennessee.
Colombia.
Why? They
Not
don't
to
ever
be
say why.
confused with the country Columbia.
Correct.
Colombia of the
Columbia.
Christopher Columbus variety.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I don't know why Colombia.
Yeah, it's just so random.
Yeah.
But everybody was driving to they all left.
Yeah, they caravan down there.
Yeah.
All of them.
And Mary said in the vans were guns, gold, cats.
And cats.
Yeah, and one more thing, and I forget
Guns,
what it
gold,
was.
and cats.
Yeah. So Mary is still like, I need to get out, but like I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So other Mary, Mark's wife, saw on Facebook at some point that Cheryl and Olivia had bought a horse, and that's how they figured out she was in Tennessee. So Mark calls the sheriff and he says, I need you to do a welfare check on my adult children. I'm worried about them, all this stuff. So the sheriff goes over there. He gets in touch with Cheryl, not the kids.
Yeah.
And Cheryl says he's abusive. They don't want to have anything to do with him. So everybody moves to Columbia, Tennessee. And they're just trying to make ends meet because they've got about 50,000 cats to take care of.
And no jobs because they didn't know they were leaving.
And Cheryl is like, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
So she wants to get out. She ends up meeting another woman that's also a musician because she was doing music at this time. They fell in love and she moved in with this woman. And it was enough for her. Like this woman was like, look,
Yeah.
you're in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary was like, I thought so. Like, I was starting
Yeah.
to think so. But like, I wasn't.
She's like, okay, so I'm not crazy.
Yeah. So, okay.
I know.
And so she was like, you can live with me. I'll help you, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. So then Mary, Mark's wife, starts a Facebook page called, Is There a Cult in Columbia, Tennessee?
I've never seen this Facebook. Is it still active?
Yeah. I checked it out today. It's still
Can we get
going. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh.
And they just posted a thing about the curious case of, and like, yeah. And Mary, who is in this episode, the other Mary,
Okay.
has done other interviews. She's the one that talked to the Nashville scene. So the Nashville scene did an article called Apocalypse Meow.
I love that.
So clever.
I know.
All about the, Doomsday Cat Cult, which now they also have welcomed dogs into the fold.
Now they have their newest front because they leave Columbia, Tennessee,
right.
because Mary starts this Facebook group. Is there a cult? So people start asking questions and they're like, hey girl, you're a cult leader. We don't like that. We don't want you in our town. And so they move to somewhere in Kentucky. Columbia, Kentucky. Okay.
And then that's it.
And then we conclude.
They're like, I don't know.
In true Curious Case fashion, we get some on-screen text and you're like, okay, that's that.
Exactly. And they said if Cheryl is investigated, it's possible she could face criminal sanctions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is where they talk about like her offshore money. Like supposedly she's funneling money offshore or whatever. And that could be the thing that they get her for. Again, I say, if you're going to be a criminal, pay your taxes. That will get you sent to jail faster than freaking anything else.
Yep.
So pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Or face the consequences, I guess.
Yeah. And that's
it.
Like, Mary is now married to a woman and she has a stepdaughter and they have a great life.
Yeah.
And she still likes cats. And Cheryl Ruthven is still active and currently living in Columbia, Kentucky. That's sad.
This one was a wild one, and it was long, and the cat part of it was very minimal, which was upsetting. Kind of like the Bam one, where they're like, the curious case of Bam Margera, and it's not actually really about Bam, but we do talk about him for a minute, so
for like
just,
a minute.
Just enough to name drop him.
Exactly.
Same thing with the cats.
We ended up talking about him for like 20 minutes because I looked up a bunch of other stuff. I'm like, you didn't even talk about any of it.
We didn't even talk about the Doomsday part of this because there wasn't really anything Doomsday-ish
other than
about
the cats will save you from the apocalypse.
Yeah, but that's all you hear about it is that the cats are vessels.
Yeah.
And they'll save you from the apocalypse.
It's okay. This show, I have enjoyed it, I guess, fine enough.
Yeah, but I always leave with more questions than answers And I'm always like, why did you even start this story if you didn't have enough
If you
to
don't
finish
know,
it?
yeah, like it felt very clickbaity.
Yeah,
You
this
know,
was a
like
clickbait show.
Doomsday Cat Cult.
Yeah, and you have to get an hour into this episode before you even hear about cats.
Right.
There's only a vague mention of Doomsday.
Yeah.
And then we're right back to something else.
Right.
Like, weird.
But that's the last episode of The Curious Case.
Yeah.
I assume they'll have another season.
There'll be another season, and we'll be here to talk to you about it.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
pretty wild stuff. But yeah, that's it.
That's it.
So
we'll see you next time.
Love you.
Bye.